A day of remembrance.
Welcome to the Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit Hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello and welcome to Friday. It is September 11th, 2020. And for those of us who were alive, we'll always remember that date from 19 years ago when we were attacked by terrorists with planes flying into the Twin Towers in New York, into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and when the passengers of Flight 93 overtook the cockpit that was reportedly on its way to the White House and crashed into a field in Pennsylvania. I did not want to skip my quote of the day, as I feel I searched out for a good one that would resonate on this day. This quote from Howard Fast: "Let us say that kindness costs me so little and rewards me so well." I feel like that's the one thing we have forgotten when it comes to remembering 9/11 is the kindness that we showed each other, that we remembered that we were all Americans and that we wanted to help each other instead of fight each other and belittle each other and berate each other. So I thought that I would tell you a little bit about my experience on that day. And ironically, we have been talking about persistence all this month, and I don't know of a greater example of persistence and perseverance than 9/11. They tried to break us that day. They tried to take away our sense of security and our way of life. They succeeded briefly, but we came back stronger than ever. We persisted, and we will never forget, or have we? I was on a staycation from my job as the news traffic reporter for the morning show at Q102 in Philadelphia. I was at the gym getting a workout in when my trainer, when he told me the news. He would often walk his son to the daycare across the street from the gym while he piled on the reps for me. He'd be like, "Do 40 of these, I'll be back." He came running up the steps to the gym announcing that I had taken off the busiest news day of the year as a plane just flew into the World Trade Center. I was stunned. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. At first, we thought that was it. We thought it was some kind of mistake, but it wasn't. There was so much more to come. I don't remember if I finished my workout or not, but I drove home with the news station on. I had to stop for gas, and I cranked it up so I could listen while pumping my gas. I remember people looking at me oddly, and I thought, they haven't heard yet. I drove away from Center City to my home on the west side of town. I remember scanning the sky to see if there were any planes heading toward the tall buildings in Philadelphia. As Philadelphians, we often get upset because we often get overlooked because we are a spot between New York City and Washington, D.C. This time I was glad. I was happy we were considered insignificant and therefore skipped. By the time I got home, a second plane had hit the towers and one tower had fallen. I remember watching the second tower fall, not realizing it was a live shot. I thought it was a replay of the first tower falling. I had never felt so alone. And then, to my dismay, my boss called to see if I could come in and give live updates for the radio station. They had tapped into a news feed from CNN, but wanted to do some live traffic reports and updates about local conditions. How could I do that? I didn't know what to say. I was scared of messing up. I was scared of not sounding sorry enough, but I was also afraid of not sounding professional enough. I ended up staying there until about 9 p.m. that night and went back in the next morning at 5 a.m. We took calls from people all morning long to let people vent their feelings. People were calling, looking for their loved ones. They had to get it out that their husband, father, son, brother, wife, daughter, mother, sister had not come home. Had anyone seen them? It was beyond heartbreaking. Although I was in the midst of it that day, I didn't know anyone who was touched personally by the tragedy and in the sense that they lost someone that they loved until I moved to where I live now. There is a woman in my book club who has turned into a friend who lost her husband that day. He was a firefighter and ran into the buildings as everyone was running out. My scary experience seems pretty tame compared to what I imagine she went through that day. She lost the love of her life, the father of her children. He went off to work one day and never came home. My heart breaks for her and her family. It has been 19 years since that horrific day, and I wonder what her husband would think about the state of our country today. It saddens me how at odds we all are. I've never seen our country so divided. I've never seen so much hate and animosity toward our fellow Americans. We somehow have gotten a message that if someone doesn't agree with us, we are allowed to name call and bully that person. In fact, it's almost like a gang mentality. I live in an area where my politics differ from the majority. I hesitate to make my opinion known because I have been ganged up on, called horrific names, and bullied because of my point of view. Heck, my own family and friends differ on most of my political views, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't call me names and bully me. We often hear in our area, well, where's all the people, with the opposite point of view? Why aren't you speaking your mind? Well, you have all scared me. I'm too afraid to say my opinion now. It's gotten to a point where my husband doesn't want me to fly a flag of my choice for president because he's afraid someone will vandalize our house. How sad is that? But I've decided to forge ahead. I feel the need to have my say. That is my right as an American. It doesn't mean I don't like you if you feel different. But I do like to hear different point of views. I've learned to have political conversations with an open mind, to learn and hear why people feel the way they do. I like to see what they see. Maybe I will see it too. But it's unlikely they will change my mind, nor will I change their mind. So when you have a political discussion, don't go into it thinking you're going to change their mind. Just listen. I hope we can all still have an adult conversation about the pros and cons. It can be done. I've done it. No name calling, no assumptions about what type of person I must be. Just an open and honest conversation. Excuse me, I've been holding that cough back for quite a while. Got a little bit of a cold. And I'm taking a sip of coffee. Okay. Just one more paragraph to get through, people, and then I will not be coughing in your ear anymore today. At the end of the day, when I feel sad about how divided we are, I try to remind myself that people are still dying to get to this great country every day. That we were attacked 19 years ago because people are so jealous of the freedom we have here. That they wanted to stop our great way of life. And although they hurt us, they didn't break us. And I hope no one ever will, especially ourselves. I hope we can figure out a way to get that camaraderie back. I hope we can start looking out for each other again. I hope we can find a common ground in this great country of ours. We are the United States of America. And I hope we can act like it again soon. God bless America.